Welcome, everyone. This is Dungeons and Dragons. My name is Cameron. I'm going to be the dungeon master for this game. That means I'm going to be the one leading the narrative story. So, Blue?
All right, my character is going to be Alden the Kind Bendor. I am a Goliath cleric.
And Katie, tell us about your character.
I'm going to be playing Dobbs, a mountain dwarf paladin.
Mikey, tell us about your character.
I am playing Garrett Greenbottle. He is a halfling rogue.
And Luke, go ahead and hit us with it.
I'm playing Theobeak, a Aarakocran monk.
And Mr. Daps, finished off.
I am playing Colonel Sherman T. Potter, and I am a ranger elf.
Welcome, adventurers, to the world of Elias. The statue itself is towering, and it depicts an elf on the left with a few birds around the elf's head, shaking hands with a armor-clad knight human, and they're reaching across and grasping hands.
That's a mighty big pile of lettuce there.
I had a divine dream, but I'm not exactly sure why I was supposed to be here.
But I'm 3. I know, don't laugh. It's an embarrassment. My brother, he left when he was 2.
I am a soldier, so I am from all over the place. And you should stay away from swords because you are small.
It's been a traveling day, yeah, so I could say I'm hungry.
There is a large flattering sound and a spit of dust rising up from the road leading to Spire. You're going to see 3 figures come running down the road. There are 2 older men and what appears to be a very small figure running beside them as well. He's dressed in a simple white shirt with what appears to be a brown, almost leather apron or a craftsman apron in front of him. You can actually see a couple of tools falling off of him and lying on the road where they fall. And then there's our 3rd figure, which you can just barely make out and has actually just joined our chat in friend Steven.
Oh!
There is a 3'2", very, very short, gnomish looking young lady.
But you do recognize the face of one of your superiors. This is Sale. We must defend this inn and this box at all costs. Soldier, hold out your hand. As you feel a sharp burning sensation in your right wrist, but it is a larger circle bound by 2 smaller circles just above.
Oh!
Yes.
It will hold until she is named. It will hold until she is named. That is the only way it can be broken. You are bound.
That's going to complicate things.
I'm sure you do not know, but the High King has died. And peering inside, you're going to see the form of a beautiful young woman. This is my daughter, Lucia. We must name her king, and in order to do that, we must gather the council. And with that, we will end our first session of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh my gosh.
Right.
Well, welcome to DAPS and Dragons. I am Mr. Daps, and we are going to get this game started. And with that, I'm done. Cameron, you're in charge.
Hi, I'm Cameron. I'm your friendly neighborhood DM. That is Dungeon Master for all you uninitiated. We are playing Dungeons and Dragons with a fairly Disney twist. Joining me, as always, on the stream are our categories of players. We do have Mr. Daps. Thank you for the introduction. We have Blue, Daniel over there. We have Mikey over on the East Coast holding things down. We have Steven. We have Katie from Geeks Corner fame. And we have Luke. Hello, everyone. How are we all doing today?
Absolutely
Great.
fantastic.
Really good.
Ready to go.
A smattering of replies. Wonderful. So you just saw the recap from episode 1. If you haven't watched that yet, please do, but after the live stream, unless you're watching this in the future, then go back and watch that and watch this after. This is episode 2 of our game. We have a good variation of people who are playing, some newbies, some not so newbies, but nobody has not played D&D before at this point. So
Wow, we're moving up in the world.
Yes, you're all doing extremely well. We shall begin. I'm going to take a note from a fellow author and reader of things, LeVar Burton, who does this wonderful exercise before you get into a story. So I'm going to ask everyone, please breathe in and out. And let's play D&D. It is late. The tinker lies in his bed in the Mouse and King's Inn, unable to sleep after the day's events. The strangers he had encountered, that fought beside him mere hours before, now bound by an ancient spell to his purpose, a spell that could no longer be broken. The Tinker thinks back over the years, letting his mind wander. The Tinker is now a young man, no more than 20 in his mind. He sits at his work table, the flags at the castle spire just visible out the dusty window. Before him, a clock, or what used to be a clock. Now it's all cogs, wheels, and springs spread across his desk. But he can see the clock still, all the disparate parts, all the little bits that go into the whole. It just needs a new body is all. Without looking, the Tinker reaches for his tools, and a block of fine cherry wood. Hours passed unnoticed as he carves, sands, nails, and polishes, occasionally smoothing the reddish brown of his already full mustache with his fingers. It is late, he realizes. Someone has lit a candle, and it is burning low. He smiles, thinking of his wife. He doesn't deserve her. He looks down at the clock, now assembled, just waiting to be wound. He imagines a face with a mustache like his own, made of still hands. Untouched, the clock begins ticking. The Tinker's eyes widen. The Tinker is now older, somewhere in his 40s. He and his wife have waited to have children. They were both so busy, he with his craft work, she a military advisor to the crown. Looking down at his daughter, the Tinker smiles. Little Lucia holds herself up on a footstool, learning to trust her new legs. The Tinker runs his hand over the velvet top, and the footstool begins to walk forward slowly, Lucia leaning on it as she carefully steps to follow. "It's getting late," your wife says at the doorway, still in her uniform. He didn't see her come in. "Let's get this one to bed." "Yes, ma'am," the Tinker replies, gathering his daughter in his arms. The Tinker is in his late 50s, walking Lucia along the familiar streets to the castle. "But Papa, what if I don't want to be a smelly old sorcerer?" "You won't be, Lucia, but you still need to learn what Master Sale will teach you to keep you safe." The Tinker smiled, but he already knew the truth of her destiny. It had been in many years since Sale had come, sensing her power. She would be the most powerful magic wielder in memory, likely more powerful than Sale himself. He would let her be a child a while longer. "Come, Lucia, we don't want to be late." The Tinker was older still, sitting in his dark workshop. The soldier had left hours ago, bringing news of his wife. Defending the kingdom and all her people, the soldier had said. The Tinker would wait until tomorrow to visit Lucia at the castle. It is late. In his bed at the Mouse and Kings, the Tinker closes his eyes. He would not sleep, he already knew. It is the morning following the attack on Hub. After a bit of discussion with the innkeep, an older woman named Rose, she agreed to you staying the night at the inn to recover, on the agreement that you hire the local blacksmith and help gather supplies to repair the inn wall on the next day. You gather in the common room of the inn to find the Tinker already awake, sitting on a steaming cup of saurian roast. Welcome, everyone.
Ooh.
Hey, did you get some rest there, Tinker?
As much as usual.
Oh, I guess I didn't rest so well myself. Let me just make sure I understand this. Our next task is to gather the High Council. Here?
Not necessarily here. That is a bit of discussion. Is everyone gathered? Is everyone here?
Yeah, I come
I'm here.
flying in. I was
Alden has
sleeping
already
outside.
come down.
Present and accounted for.
Well,
Alden is also present.
There's much to discuss about what is to come, but admittedly, I am tired. I think I need at least another day's rest before we talk further about what is to come. But if you would be so very kind, we promised the innkeep to help with the mess we've made. As he looks over and gestures, there is still a large gaping hole in the sitting room of the inn. It has been barricaded with a couple of pieces of furniture, but is very much still open to the outside. Throughout on the outside of the inn, you can see in the center area of Hub a couple of people milling about. Obviously, they've had a few conversations about what happened here yesterday. Some people are peeking in and see a scene very similar to the end of the first Avengers movie with all of you sitting around a table for shawarma.
Just as a note, there are noticeably fewer nails scattered around.
Yes, of course. The Eric Cochran friend has gathered up a few of the sharp, shiny things. If you would be so very kind, would you be willing to help with the process of rebuilding part of the inn before we go? I'm skilled with wood, but I'm not up to a full rebuilding task.
Fly some things up for you, I guess.
We're always happy to help.
I think we can definitely help with that, Master Tinker. Do you know? Well, I suppose I should ask the barkeep here. Where would we find the local blacksmith?
Oh, kind of croaking in a very, the teacher from Jimmy Neutron. That's how I imagine she sounds.
Miss Fowl.
Yes, Fowl. Yes. Rose is her name, which you have learned the previous evening. There's only really one blacksmith in town, Sid. You might want to go find him. His brother should be around here. So hold up. She pops her head outside the door of the inn, despite there being a large hole she could have easily walked through. She pops out and just starts screaming into the street. Id! Has anyone seen Id? Give me just a moment. He's around. Id! And sure enough, within a couple of moments, a small, very slight dwarf comes running into the inn. He's wearing a really rough-cut green tunic and kind of a floppy bluish hat. And he looks just pleased as punch to be here. Id, hello. Yes, hello. He's walking around attempting to shake absolutely everyone's hands. Id, hello. Yeah, focus. Hey, Id, can you tell your brother we'll be sending some people over for some work later? Id flaps his head up and down very, very quickly, still smiling. Hasn't said a word yet, and then goes running out of the inn.
Just so you know, I happen to also be a blacksmith if you need a little extra work.
Oh, wonderful. Maybe you can barter something with old Sint there. Yeah. He's not the nicest guy in the world, but he's reasonable. Maybe you can barter with him a little bit.
And I'll do what I can. And I grab a chair, move into the corner, put my feet up, and lean back.
Wonderful. Well, I imagine we'll also need some base materials. For some reason, I can't seem to find half the nails that went into this wood beforehand. That's quite all right. There's plenty of iron to go around. Somebody can go out into the square and grab a few of those old weapons, probably make something totally usable, or at least we can smelt something new. We always need to, but yeah. So we have two tasks before us. Some need to go to visit the blacksmith, and some need to gather some weaponry in the circle. Do we have any volunteers for either task?
I will definitely get.
I will work wherever's needed.
I will go with Alden to the blacksmith.
I'll take to the skies and look for any metal objects.
I'll go pick something up.
And Garrett's hood is over his eyes. You probably think he's asleep.
Okay. Okay.
I will go to the blacksmith.
Oh, wonderful. So a lot of people going to the blacksmith and a couple of people going to gather. Got it. All right. Well, let's start with our gatherers first. Obviously, the statue of the Great Saurian War, the memorial rather, is just outside of the inn. If we didn't describe it well enough before, it is a little larger than life, probably about 8 to 10 feet that both of these figures are standing. And it is beautifully crafted. If you looked at it, you would have to assume probably dwarven made. But the real dichotomy of it is all of the scattered weaponry at the base. As we saw in our last session, there are just dozens of strewn about pieces, all of different makes and models of weapon all about. You're going to be looking for something that you can use to repair parts of the inn. So, Mr. DAPS, your character, remind us your character name for us, please.
Colonel Sherman T. Potter.
Never gets old. That's very
Nope.
good. And
Even though
I
he was
believe,
born old, I'm pretty sure.
Theo Beak, you were helping a bit from above, right?
Yeah.
Wonderful. I noticed in the last campaign I said the word wonderful about 37 times. I'm trying not to say it, but I keep catching myself doing it.
There may or may not be a wonderful counter starting.
Oh,
I
so
think
good.
there needs to be.
Oh, good. It's just one of those things that's stuck in my head and now won't go away. So, Colonel, you're going to be looking through the various piles of wreckage and detritus that are at the base of this statue, looking for some basic materials that would either be smelted or fashioned into tools to use for rebuilding this inn. Go ahead and give me a roll. We're going to be doing an investigation check.
With which die?
That's going to be a D20.
Okay, I got that.
Wonderful. Anytime you do a check, I did a wonderful right there. I caught myself.
Thank you.
Anytime you do any kind of check, for the most part, it's going to be a D20.
That's good to know.
Tried and true dice. The only time you're going to be using other dice is after rolling a D20 for the most part.
So how about you just tell me anytime I need to not use a D20?
Yep, that's the plan.
Cool.
Great. So.
17. It went kind of up and under.
Okay. And then looking at your sheet, do you have any bonuses to investigation?
Is that in the middle section?
Yes, it is.
+3, so that'd be 20.
20. 20 is an exceptionally good roll. And Luke, if we can have Theo make the exact same check.
18.
Wow.
Wow, both good rolls. I'm going to say with that, you find a good gathering of equipment and items. It's going to be a couple of basic iron sharded pieces that you assume you can either melt down or smelt down into some nails. You find a couple of good war hammers that would be good for construction purposes. Colonel, with a roll of a 20, I'm going to say that you find a very unique piece, kind of wedged up near the base of the statues. You actually find a piece of metal that's a little bit shinier than the other ones. It's a long shafted weapon. It looks like it may have had something on the head, but no longer does, though it is bright silver, and it has a lot of intricate carving on it. Well, not really carving, more metallurgy on it. Would you please roll let's say a history check for this, please?
Is that still a D20?
It is a D20.
All right. 19.
19 plus history?
+1.
That's 20. Wow, rolling really good today.
Makes up for last week.
Yeah.
Well, in your travels, you know some various different valuable things, either man-made or naturally occurring. This is definitely man-made, although there is something magical about it. You also know from the carvings on it, it is Dwemer, so it comes from the dwarves, most likely of the Mordetrak region to the east. And you also know that it is very, very old, probably predating almost everything else at this shrine. However, it appears to be in the best condition, other than missing whatever was supposed to be the head of it. So, the two of you are going to gather up whatever equipment you have and head back towards the inn, presumably, yes?
Yep. As I'm out there, I'm just going to look for any small creatures to try to take out and use as breakfast.
Wonderful. I did that.
I'll try to feed him breakfast.
Well, you do have Rose. You can always conscript a little bit of help or purchase some. You do have a bit of money. For the rest of you heading out to travel to the smithy, it is not that hard to find. It's one of the few things that's making a lot of noise this morning. It is a small town and there is only one smith. As you get near to the yard where most of the smith's equipment is kept, including his moderately sized forge, you're going to see Id, who you met previously, just running circles out front. And from inside, you're going to hear a very gruff voice yelling over the din of the forge. Id, come on in here. Crazy. There people are going to be here soon. Help. Something. Jeez.
I suspect that's going to be the one we want to talk to.
Oh, that's a master forger right there, all right.
Alden, you said you have some experience with work in the forge. It might be best if you do the main brunt of the talking, just because they might trust you more and not try to take us for fools.
Well, I'm absolutely fine with doing that.
Oh, wonderful. Well, as you progress into the dwarven blacksmith's area, there's a lot of noise and quite a bit of clutter. It almost looks like the place has not been maintained by anyone other than Id, who seems terribly distractible. But Sint is working away in the center, reaching for things without looking. He appears to know in all of this disarray where everything is supposed to go. He is a bit short, even by dwarven standards. He wears a red, rough-hewn cloak, very similar to Id's. It looks like they're fashioned of the same kind. He has a rather bulbous nose, again, even for a dwarf, and the speckle of a white beard below as he works away.
Hello, hello. I take a deep breath in. Love the smell of work in the morning.
Sint slowly turns around to look at you, and mind you, you've got, what, 8 feet on the guy?
Yeah.
He's going to look up at you, and you would swear he was looking eye level at you just by the amount of surliness he was giving off. He says, "So you think you know about forges, huh?" Yeah, and he turns and goes back to work.
I see. Can I make an investigation check to see what he's working on?
Absolutely.
Oh, nice. With my other thing, that's a 17.
With the 17, I'm going to say that not only do you know that he is working on the head for a stonemason's tool, it's specifically a tool used in carving rocks out of a quarry.
That's a really nice mason tool you're working on there, sir.
With your noticing the exact craftsmanship he's doing, he actually takes a moment, puts down his tool, and says, "Oh, so you do know at least one or two things. Tell me, Master Big Thing, what can I do for you?"
Well, to be honest, we had a little bit of trouble down at the inn, and we made kind of a mess, and we would like to help the old lady out to try to fix her troubles. And seeing as we were the cause of it, we'd like to, be the ones to help out.
I should have assumed it was you that caused the mess. It's always out-of-towners. Tourists. Ugh. Yeah, I guess I've got a couple other things to finish up here. When are you wanting me to do this? I might have some opening in 2 weeks or something like that.
Hey, everybody, when are we wanting to do this? As soon as possible, right?
I suspect, they wanted to fix it as soon as we could. It sounded like.
Yeah, our time frame's looking about now.
Yeah.
If it would help at all, I could stick around the shop and help Master Id there clean up a little bit, Master Sint.
Nah, I got everything right where I wanted. Besides, I got some other stuff I need to take care of right now. I would like all of you to make perception checks, please, that are at the blacksmith.
Let's see. Perception 18.
What is my perception? 14.
5.
Our first low roll.
Of course it was me.
Yeah.
Switch dice.
Mikey, I didn't hear yours.
I'm asleep in a corner.
Right. Oh, you didn't come. You're still asleep.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Sorry. I just assumed you'd be with. That's great. So I'm going to say with an 18, our master cleric Elias notices that Sint, despite all of his surliness, is a little bit worn and a little bit trepidatious and fearful.
Well, how about this? I can stay and help you with the forge, while the rest of everybody else goes and helps clean up.
I've got an idea. He sets down his tools for a minute. You seem like nice people, and not normally my type of thing, but teach their own. Truth is, cost for these kinds of repairs. I stopped by earlier and saw the hole. Congratulations on that. We're looking at probably, I guess, 40 gold worth of repairs. I mean, that's just for supplies. I like Rose. I'm not really going to charge her for the labor, but that's quite a bit of money. And no offense, but y'all don't look like the type that have that kind of change. For context, pretty much everybody has about 15 gold, so you do have the coin if you need it by pulling.
Gotcha.
Sint continues and says, "You do look like you can handle yourself in a scruff, though, so I might have a trade for you."
Ah, a trade. That sounds good.
He holds up the tool he's been working on. I'm working on this, but quite frankly, I don't know the next time I'm going to get to use it. I do have a little quarry just outside of town, but it's got a pest problem, as often happens out in the wilderness. I was wondering if maybe you could take care of it, and then we'll, I don't know, we'll call the repairs square.
You know what? No matter what kind of pest it is, I'm all right with going to help out a master forger.
I will say that Sint looks almost a little flattered for like half a second, but then quickly snaps back to Surly. It is just outside of town. You're going to take the road west as though you were going towards the Briarwild. It'll be on the right side of the road. Can't miss it. Do go armed. Whatever they are angry and have teeth.
Ah, teeth. The better to smash in with.
Master Saint, real quick question. Did you get a chance to see any of these creatures? Would you say they are taller or shorter than we are?
Well, there's not much shorter than you, is there?
That's fair.
Around my height, if not a little bit taller. I'm not quite sure what they were, but there's all sorts of weird things if you get out there long enough.
That's true, yeah. I'm sure we'll have to gather up some of our friends, but I'm sure we'd be willing to help you out with this to get work back on track. What do you say?
Oh, like I said, I'm already ready to go.
I'm always ready to protect the people.
All right.
There's our shirt. There's our first shirt for the campaign. I'm always ready to protect the people. Right. Well, since the other team members have gone back to the inn, sans our hobbit friend who is doing his hobbity best, shall we say everyone convenes back at the inn and explains the situation?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Rose overhears your conversation, leans in and says, well, there's not too far away to go out of town. I can point you in the right direction. I don't really know what he's talking about with these vermin, but at least it's not centaurs, right? And then she stares off into the distance, knowingly.
So how far would you say this trek is?
Oh, no more than 15, 20 minutes outside of town.
Oh, that's not bad at all. All right. Is everyone good to help out?
Hey,
I'm
is
always up for
everybody
some
else all
pest
right with
control.
going and helping?
Okay.
Where do you want these tools and weapons?
Put them on the table there. Pats the table. Right next to where the tinker is, and does not look like he has moved very much since you left.
Master Tinker, quick question. Would you like some help getting upstairs to your sleeping quarters?
No, that's all right. He leans over and pats the top of the box that is still in the inn common room. Truth be told, I'd feel more comfortable staying here.
Understood. All right.
Would you like us to bring her to a more secure location rather than just out here? Say to your room.
He is going to very kindly decline something muttered about seeing in all directions.
Very well.
All right. Let's head out, everybody.
All right.
I want your walking sounds.
Stomp, 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 stomp.
Mine are very soft and some feather flutters.
I'm silent. I'm stealthy.
Same. If you hear me, it's already a bad thing.
Yeah. My feet are very heavy. I am not a light-footed man.
Well, as you walk along, is there any conversation about your current situation? There's been a lot happening in the last few hours for you guys.
A quick question for everybody, since we're going to have to gather up the High Council. By any chance, do any of you have any connections to the High Council at all from where you're from? Have any of you met the High Council, or possibly, maybe you have a friend who knows someone on the High Council?
No.
Oh.
Come to think of it, no.
The only one I can think of is asleep in a box in an inn.
I suppose, yeah.
Can you wake her up?
All right.
Remember that whole magic spell thing?
Yeah.
Worth a try, though.
Yeah, you can't just break that.
Sometimes you just gotta try.
Well, very good. As the conversation continues, I'll tell you a little bit of information that your characters should probably know. Katie, as Dobbs is a defender of the realm, you would know the basics of the council structure, at the very least, whether or not you know exactly the intricacies of how the government works, checks and balances and all that. You know that there is legislation. Bill becomes a law. You do know that there is the High King, which rules over all of Kingdom, and that there is the council, which is made up of a representative of all of the other nations of the kingdom. The councils are all chosen a little bit differently in every land. For example, Daniel, your character, would know that in the Briarwilds, the council member is chosen at the time of need when it's needed. There's not really a head governing structure. Everyone's expected to represent the Briarwilds equally, so somebody might just be chosen, but it does have to be chosen by the consensus of nature. And there's all these different stipulations throughout the kingdom for each region that they might come from. But you do know an important function of the council is the actual placement of the High King. While the High King is the council governing member for Spire, the High King is also selected and approved by the entirety of the council. Traditionally, the High King will pick their successor, not necessarily an heir to the throne, but rather somebody that can rule over kingdom effectively. And the council usually very ceremoniously will install them into office. Of course, that's been made a little bit tricky by the passing of the High King.
So how do we know none of the council is with us right now?
A great question.
I'm going to say everybody's having a really hard time explaining all of this to me.
Well, you see, a council is like a group of people. Yes,
so basically like us.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm just a bill.
So can we become a council?
In the Briarwilds, perhaps.
Okay.
However, Mr. Daps, with your history with the Saurian people, you yourself being an elf, you know that the council member for representing Sar is the matron. It is a matrilineal society, so the high priestess of the Saurian people, the matron, is the one that represents them on the council.
Beautiful.
And I don't know if I need to do a history check or not. Do I know whether or not the tunnel even has representation, or if that's a Mordredrak thing?
It is. So the Mordredrak Society is represented by the Lords of Mordredrak. There is one gnome and one dwarf. They rule as a tandem society over Mordredrak, and together they count as one council member. It's one of the very few regions of Kingdom that has more than one representative on council, but it's still one vote.
How
So
interesting.
Yes.
Is it because they're both short, and if you stack them together, they're one person?
That's just about right.
Hopefully the gnome stands on top on that situation.
And out of all of this representation, of course, our Hobbit does not have the best representation on the council. Garrett has spent a little bit of time in Mordredrak himself, so he's familiar with the Mordedrakian structure. However, halflings don't really have a presence in the kingdom. There aren't really any societies of halflings. So it's of interest how he even ended up here with those vague memories from before, if we remember from our last campaign. Okay, so
along the way as we're going, I just want to keep an eye out for any creatures or anything that could pose a threat.
All right, wonderful. Since you're actively doing that, go ahead and give me a perception check.
16.
16. All right, with the 16, as you walk along the road, you are the first one to actually spot the quarry. There is a small path going off to the right, just as Sint described where it would be, with a few sparse bushes on the plains-like area that you are in. With a 16, you are going to notice one of the bushes on the side of the road rattle in a way that a breeze normally would do, but it is stark non-breezy out. So you have a fair warning that there is some sort of creature in a bush on the road towards the quarry.
Upon saying that, my wings are just going to kind of flutter up, and you're going to see me just get really attentive and focused on that bush. I'm not saying anything, I'm not moving, just I've kind of frozen and I'm just staring at it.
All right, since our Aarakocra friend has become a pointer, does anyone else react?
Definitely.
Do I notice? That's the
I raise my shield and ready my mace.
So as I was saying, Master Aarakocra, you see the structure of government is that such a... Wait, what?
What's with this guy?
Do the bushes move again?
They've still just a little bit, but yeah, you're stopped, I would say, a good 30 feet away from them.
I have my bow ready.
Just trained on the bush.
Yep. Not going to miss that bush.
And my axe.
Sorry,
She said it.
Must have been nothing. I just thought I saw the bush move is all. Sorry.
Want to see how good of a shot I am?
What are you aiming for?
Apparently a bush.
That's an easy target.
Rock and hit a bush.
Does anyone...
All right, let's see how good of a shot you are.
I'm going to just turn and say, "Fine, take a shot. See what happens." And I'm just gonna keep staring at the bush.
I'm pretty sure it's still a bush.
Are you taking a shot at it?
You tell me. You're the.
No, you decide. You want to take a shot at the bush?
Decide. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Why not? Why? I can always go pick up an arrow.
Do you think there might be any possibility that is a scared miner hiding in the bush?
Miner or miner?
A very young rocksmith.
Yes, either or. I call out to the bush, "Hey, friend or foe?"
Are you calling out in common, I would assume?
Huh?
You calling out in common?
Yes.
Great. Everybody roll a perception check for me.
Right.
Is that a 20?
Yep.
Yeah.
10.
4?
18.
9.
Oh wait, I get plus
19.
4, so I'm 8.
Right. All right, our halfling friend has rolled a 19, and Dobbs rolled an 18. I'm going to say the both of you, I don't think either of you speak it, but you're going to recognize a low kind of guttural barking language, and you know it's the language of Knoll, the Knoll people, Gnoll. Does anyone speak Knoll?
No.
No.
Nope.
Knoll.
Speak Dwarvish.
Nope.
All right, so you
I
hear
speak goblin.
a small skittering of Knoll inside of the bush.
That's interesting.
Let me try something really quick, just to see if we can't do anything. And I'm going to aim my right hand at the bush and throw some dancing lights in on the opposite side of the bush to see if I can't scare the gnoll out of there. So I'm going to put it as close to the bush as possible.
Okay. And you don't have to do a check for the spell. I'm going to count this as an intimidation.
Sure.
Because you're trying to start a little bit. Roll. Give me an intimidation check.
Sure. That's 7.
7. All right. With a 7, you throw your sparklers down, and the bush does shake just a little bit more, and you hear a bit more gnoll coming out of it. But then it quickly hushes. You have to assume it's a gnoll hushing a gnoll. It sounds really weird, but yeah.
Well, at least we know there's 2 of them.
Do we notice any other bushes or anything in the area?
It's fairly sparse. It doesn't look like there's a lot of other hidey places around, but there's just a couple there.
All right, what I'm gonna do, because I can move the dancing lights, I'm gonna move them a little, reposition them up to the front, so that possibly I can provide a little bit more light into the bush, so that our archers can see what's going on.
Okay, as you move the dancing lights a little bit closer, a rather small club is going to come straight out of the bush and try to hit the dancing lights on the ground.
Do you want me
The
to
club.
shoot it?
What's that?
Do you want me to shoot it?
It's whatever you want to do, man.
Well, it says gnolls are feral, hyena-headed humanoids that attack without warning.
Somebody has their internet up. Yeah, that seems like a logical conclusion.
This
That's
guy.
usually
Now,
what they do.
Here's the
but
real
they
question.
are an intelligent species, so they might not always do that.
That is true.
But
Also,
it says they slaughter their victims and devour their flesh.
that's what
That they
know,
also
Mr.
do.
Daps. However, does
But
your
it's from a
character know
website.
that?
Oh.
It's true. Does your character know that? Do me a favor.
Well,
Now that we've
hold on.
determined it's gnolls, can everyone please make a nature check for me?
Yeah.
What
I
is a
love
nature
the
check?
idea of D20,
Well,
Mr.
that's
Daps.
gonna be real good.
I gotta find my thing.
12.
Ah, sweet. I got a 20.
Ah,
Nice.
noodles.
I got a 19.
I got a 1 plus a
Really?
1.
You got a nine.
So you,
I
Mr.
rolled a
Daps, did some
3
very
minus
good
1.
Googling. Oof. So you, Mr. Daps, did some very good Googling. However, the Colonel doesn't know no gnolls from nothing.
Nope.
And that's really one of the separations of player and character. Wonderful example, Mr. Daps. However, for those of you who rolled in the 19 to 20 range, you're going to know that gnolls are savage, hyena-like creatures that are prone to attack without warning.
Roll a
Don't
seven.
forget the devouring their flesh part.
Yes. Oh, they also tend to devour their flesh.
Yeah.
Master Potter, it might be a good idea to take advantage of our distance. You might want to take that shot.
Okay. I'd be happy to.
All right. Make an attack at the bush.
So roll it.
Yep. And I'm going to say you're attacking with disadvantage, which means you're going to roll twice and pick the lowest of the two numbers.
The lowest of the two.
Yes.
16 and 9.
So you're going to add your modifier to that. Which modifier is that? That's
The longbow one.
Well, I believe if they have full cover, that it fails.
remind me why?
Well, there's full cover, 3/4, half.
Right.
partial cover.
So that is a failure. However, your arrow is going to land close enough to the bush to properly startle them this time, which means 2 gnolls come rolling out of the bush, and I need everyone to roll for initiative.
Woo!
How far away did you say they were?
30 feet.
Oh, jeez.
I got a 9 for
All right,
initiative.
go
roll,
slow.
good roll, come
I'm
on.
actually entering your numbers this time. I'm trying to be a good.
Mama,
So what do I add to it, Cameron? Oh,
That's going to be your
This
initiative.
is just initiative.
where is that?
No, Robert.
It's right next to your armor class. Right below your proficiency bonus.
Oh yeah, that's right. So I
Nine.
got 19 plus 3, so what's it? 21?
Beautiful.
22. Sorry.
22.
Okay.
And I got a 19, baby.
That makes up for that 1.
I got a 2, good sir.
Wow.
That goes back to the 1.
I'm sorry, I missed Garrett Greenbottle and Theo Beak.
13.
13, thank you.
15.
Wonderful. Gotta stop
And
saying
Xana,
that.
you said you got a 9?
Yes, I have the 9.
Steven?
for Xana.
9, yes.
I get to roll dice too.
Woo!
Might I just say that the folks at D&D Beyond have done a wonderful job. We're using their encounter beta right now, and it's great. I highly recommend it for anyone who's playing it. So, in the order of initiative, despite that surprise attack, which the Colonel took, it is actually the Colonel up first. So, what would you like to do? You're about 30 feet away from them. You have, I believe, 25-foot range, or do you have 35-foot range?
I have
Should be moving speed towards the top.
moving speed.
Oh, yes, and demonstrating it, Luke has a wonderful initiative order tracker there. It's very good.
Oh yeah, that was really cool. Where am I looking? The walking speed?
Yes.
35 feet.
Great. So you have 35 feet to move. They're roughly 30 feet away from you. Do you
Nice.
want to move at all? Do you want to take a shot from where you are?
I might as well just shoot, right?
That makes sense to me.
Me too.
Do you want to shoot at the knoll on the left or the right?
Always the left.
Always the left.
I don't know.
All right. Go ahead and take that shot.
7 plus 5. So 12.
So 12. Going against their armor class, that does not hit.
I would think not.
Yeah, well, you'd be surprised. They're gnolls. But still, that arrow is going to zing just by them as everyone kind of looks at you a little side askance. You're supposed to be this amazing ranger. What's the problem? Any biscuits. So you miss your shot. If you look to bonus action in the order there, is there anything else you would like to do?
Bonus action?
Yep, there should be a small menu at the top there.
I think he just has a 2-weapon fighting.
Yes, I believe so as well.
Okay.
So you should be good. Did you want to move at all, or are you good where you are?
I'm okay.
Great.
I feel like I'm far enough away.
You are at the moment. All right, Dobbs, you're up next.
How far away? 30 feet?
Yes.
I'm getting out my crossbow and I'm shooting. And then I start shooting.
At the left or the right?
Right.
All right. Take your
Divide
shot.
and conquer. Wait, I rolled the wrong one.
Oops.
I'm supposed to roll a d6.
Nope,
Right.
D20.
D20 to see
The
if you can hit it.
D20 for your attack.
Yes, I'm smart.
Almost everything will start with that D20.
Gracious. 11 plus 6, so 16.
16 will hit. So you're going to roll your damage now.
Nice.
So now I roll a d6.
Plus whatever. Or it's a D. Is it a D6 for your crossbow?
For my crossbow, yeah.
Great. Yep, go for it.
Cool. 6.
Okay. Oh, that's so good. All right, so you're going to wing it pretty good in the shoulder there, and it's going to let out kind of imagine Lion King. That's what I'm picturing here.
Yeah.
Just variations on Ed. And it's going to foam at the mouth just a bit and look at you directly in the eyes. Did you want to move at all, or is that going to be the end of your turn?
I'm good.
Okay. Next up is Theobeak.
Do I notice any, besides the club, do I notice any other weapons on them?
The other one is similarly armed. They appear to have some ranged weapon at their hip as well.
I'm going to run up 25 feet, which should put me within 5 feet of them.
It does.
And I'm going to take my quarterstaff, and the one on the left, I'm going to take a swing at it.
Go for it.
Ooh, 24.
That hits.
5 bludgeoning. And then bonus action, I'm going to kick at the one on the right with my talons. 19.
Yep.
And that is 5 slashing damage.
Great. So what is the total damages for each?
Good question. 5, 5, 10.
So 10, and it's all to the one on the right, correct? Or the left?
5 on left, 5 on right.
Great. All right, they're going to be caught just a little bit off guard by your rapid approach and super sweet kickflip moves. But they're already reeling back, and now they're looking pretty intently at you. Did you want to move back, or is that going to be the end of your turn?
That's all my movement.
Great. Next up, Garrett Greenbottle.
I'm going to toss a dagger right at the one on the left.
Okay.
And that's going to be that's going to be an 11.
That is not going to hit.
Then I'm going to kind of just shimmy on into behind whoever's, I guess, closest to me. Just kind of just hide behind him.
I think closest to you at this point is probably going to be the Colonel.
All right, I'm hiding behind the Colonel.
Okay. Next up in the order is Xana.
I hope that works out for you.
All right. I'm going to look at whichever one looks more damaged. And
the one on the right.
Oh, the one on the right. Good. Okay, the one on the right, I am going to...
That one.
I am going to point my staff directly at that knoll and fire off a bit of frostbite at it.
Okay.
And that is a Constitution saving throw from you.
One moment as I pull up all of the details. Oh, I love D&D Beyond. This is great. That's going to be a 2.
Woo! Yeah, that's not going to do it. All right. So, 1d6. Oh, come on. That's a 1.
That's a 1. Okay.
So much damage. And it's going to have disadvantage on the next weapon attack roll.
This one has disadvantage on the next one?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Any movement, or is that it for you?
I am going to wander to the back of our group.
Okay.
Just like about 5 feet.
Great. So you're roughly 35 feet away from them now.
Indeed.
Okay. As a note,
front now?
You're a little bit more towards the front, yeah.
Okay, just curious. I kind of felt like I might be.
For anyone watching at home that this might be their first D&D experience, you might notice a little bit of bland repetition in some of the moves that our characters are making. That is because they're all level 1. Just like in real life, you have to gain a little bit of experience before you can do some really cool stuff. What's going to really control the action for them and the inventiveness of the campaign is going to be their creativity with what they've got right now. So for our players, I do encourage you to continue to be creative as you move through the campaign. You will have some more fun toys to play with as we continue to level up. But for now, if you see the repetition, they're just grinding up those levels, gaining a little bit of experience right now. And next up in the order is going to be Alden the Kind.
Yeah, all right. So Alden raises his mace into the air and as a bonus action casts Searing Smite upon his weapon.
Okay.
His weapon bursts into flames, and then I will move up to the knoll on the right, and I am going to make a melee attack at him. With with a 12.
12 does not hit, I'm afraid.
All right. And then, how far was he from me?
If you moved into melee range, then you move 25 feet.
25 feet. I will step to his side, but not leave his threat range.
That is a great choice. For everyone still playing, in case you missed it, I believe it happened in our last game as well. If you move out of range, which is 5 feet usually, any opponent will get an attack of opportunity. Basically, they'll get a free attack. Unless, of course, you take your action to disengage, in which case they don't get a free attack. But that's why he chose to move to the side rather than fleeing away. A wonderful choice and protects him. All right, next up in the order are going to be the Knolls, which looks like Luke assumed after the last round. That's great.
I assumed they were below a 2.
Yeah. All right, so the Knoll on the left, he is still very close to Theobeak at this point, and it's the easiest target of advantage, so he's going to take a swing at Theobeak with his club, and that is going to be a 12.
Miss.
That is a miss. So he's going to swing with a wild hyena-like rage and miss entirely.
Can I ask a dumb question?
Please.
How is it a miss?
Just based on the dice roll. So when a player attacks, just like when you attack, I'm rolling a d20.
Yeah.
And when I roll, I say the number. In this case, it was a 12.
Right.
And that compares to the defender's armor class, or AC, which is on your sheet.
Oh, okay.
If it ties, it goes to the attacker, or if it is above, it goes to the attacker. If it is below that number, it is either non-damaging or misses in some fashion.
Okay.
So that's how it determines if it actually hits or not. And if it does hit, that's when you roll damage.
Thank you.
Yeah. So just in that case, that did not hit, swung wide, and he's going to look up in a rage at you. While he is swung wide almost instantaneously, the other gnoll is going to attempt to bite at you. And that is going to be a 19.
Hits.
That is going to be a hit. So in this case, it was above his armor class. So, There's one of goodness. It is going to be 3 plus 2. That's 5 piercing damage.
Okay.
Very good.
I'm looking hurt.
What is your health right now for the edification of the group?
3.
3. So he has 3 health left, everybody. Just for perspective.
So does that mean he did a -5 on that heal and damage thing?
Yeah, I put in 5 and then I clicked damage.
Right, cool. Because he just took 5.
Thank you.
All right. With that, we are going to move back to the top of the order. That's going to go back to the colonel.
So can I take another shot?
Absolutely.
I would like to take another shot.
All right, at the left or the right?
The left.
The left, okay.
And I got an 18 plus a 5, so that's what, 23?
That hits.
Cool.
So now you will roll damage. If you look next to your longbow, it'll say 1d something, which will tell you what dice. Plus
1d8.
Something. So you'll roll a d8.
Which one's that?
It's the
that
kind
would be this little guy.
The diamondy looking one, right?
Diamondy looking one. Oh yeah. Okay, got it.
All right, roll that.
3.
3. And did you have plus something after that?
3.
So that is 6 total damage. Very good. That is a solid hit.
Cool.
And with that, both of the gnolls are looking a little bit worse for wear at this point. All right, next up is going to be Dobbs.
Haha, I was muted. That was a little joke I did. How far away am I?
At this point, you took a shot last time, so you're still about 30 feet.
Cool. I'm gonna use my full walking speed, and then I'm gonna get out my battle axe.
Sweet.
I'm gonna get crazy.
All right, go for it. Who are you taking a swing at?
Chill all the time.
This is just, I told you, I'm cool guys don't look at explosions. Like, that's...
We can do explosions?
Left or right on that attack?
Right.
Okay.
15.
15. That is going to hit. Normally, I wouldn't tell you this, but I am DM, so I get to decide all the important things. This particular gnoll has an armor class of 15, meaning that you tied it, but the tie always goes to the attacker. So you got the hit.
Oh, gracious. Why did I lose it? Oh, there it is. Gracious. 6.
6 is a very good hit. And that was on the one on the right?
On the right.
Right, yes. All right. That particular gnoll is looking a little bit bloodied at this point. He is a little bit wavery.
He attacked us, so.
All right. And is that going to be the end of your turn?
Yeah.
Cool. Theobeak, you're up.
So the one on the left, I'm going to take my quarterstaff and take a thwack at him. 8.
8 does not hit.
And then I'm going to just do a kick on the one on the right.
All right.
12.
Nope, does not hit. Now, you'll notice that Luke is taking a little bit more action in combat than the others. That's because Theobeak is a monk, and the characters that are real good at hitting stuff tend to be real good at hitting stuff, and not necessarily a ton else. So as we progress through the game, some of the other classes, for example, are paladins and are more magically attuned, will probably just get bigger spells that they're able to use and stuff. Some characters, like monks, are going to get real good at hitting things multiple times. That's kind of the progression of it. But yeah, already getting a couple of hits in, even though this time they didn't really hit too terribly well. All right, anything else before the end of your turn?
And I'm going to stay there.
Okay. We're going to be moving on in the order. Remember, everyone, Theo Beak has health of about 3 right now, which means he's not looking super good. Meaning if it gets back to the Knolls and he's still the closest one, it may not be the best for him. So keep that in mind as we move on to Garrett Greenbottle next in the order.
All right, so I'm going to step out from behind the colonel and throw another dagger, this time at the one on the right.
Okay, go for it.
And that's going to be 16.
16 hits.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and use that sneak attack.
Now, do you get sneak attack at a range like that?
It's as long as I have an ally that's within 5 feet of the creature.
Great. Okay, cool.
That is going to be 9 damage.
9 damage. All right, with 9 damage.
Piercing damage, specifically.
That dagger is going to go flipping through the air and peg the Gnoll really good in the temple, and that Gnoll is going to fall down flat. That Gnoll is no longer on the board. And that's awesome. If you look, Luke has turned one of the Gnolls off to the side. That's great. So one of the Gnolls is downed as we move forward in the order. Next up is going to be Xana.
Right. With one Gnoll left, I'm going to take my staff, plant it in the ground again, reach my hand out, throw a firebolt at it, and see if I can do any better with that. So I am going to do a ranged spell attack.
I like that logic of, I couldn't hit it with ice. Fire?
Exactly.
Seems logical to me.
18 plus 4, 22.
22 is going to hit good.
Yeah. All right, 1d10. That is a 6 total.
6 total. All right. 6 damage. This particular Gnoll is not looking super good for wear either. He's getting a little bit wobbly on his feet.
All right. And then I'm going to charge as close as I can, get to the Gnoll to take attention away. I figure that I can take attention away from the Aarakocra.
A bold move. All right, so you're attempting to move in between the Gnoll and the Aarakocra with your movement.
Yep.
Okay. A very noble endeavor from Xana. The smallest member of your party has just opted to jump in front of arguably one of the taller members of your party in obstinance against this Gnoll. Now, Xana is a sorcerer, meaning they don't typically act as the sturdiest in the group. So as we continue to learn and play, not the best idea to throw your magic user at something. However, in this case, Xana is doing a very noble action. I respect that for a character choice. That's one.
And we have to wait for our turn to help?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
Next up in the order is going to be Alden.
Just so everyone can picture it, I am standing in front of the Aarakocra going, "Don't worry, Master Aarakocra, I gotcha."
Can I ask how big that is?
Well, what's your height, Xana?
3'2".
So,
okay.
3'2", and the Gnoll is probably at around 4.5 feet.
Oh, okay.
And but Theo Beak is what, 6 feet?
Probably 5.
5. Okay, so still the shortest of the 3 by far.
Okay, thanks.
They can fight right over top of me. I wouldn't even know.
You're totally safe.
All right, Alden, go for it.
All right, I'm going to rush in and attack that last Gnoll.
Go for it.
Aha! I got a 15.
15 is going to hit because that ties the armor class.
Oh, sweet. Okay. Let's see. For this one, it's a D6. 3 plus 3, 6.
6. And what weapon are you attacking with?
My mace.
Wonderful. I said wonderful again. Oh my goodness. I need to stop. With your mace, you swing down. It's still on fire, right?
Yes.
Great.
Oh, that's right. It does an extra D6. I forgot. Oh, that was a 6 for the fire damage.
So with 12 damage, you immolate this gnoll. 12 is beefy for a level 1. So you strike this thing down with a righteous fury, which is perfectly in line with your character. But yes, singed before it hits the ground as the gnoll falls prone. And with that, you have defeated the gnolls in front of you. Perception checks, everyone.
Did we get him?
I'm going to look down at the Aarakocra, and I'm going to cast Cure Wounds.
Okay, go for it.
I got an 18 perception.
11. Nope, 10. I lied.
9.
Let's see. I'm going to touch him and cure 4 plus my spellcasting modifier 2, so 6. 6 damage.
Wow.
6 healing goes to the Aarakocra. Well done.
Back up to full.
Very good.
Well, thank you. Thank you.
No problem. Are you all right?
Well, I am now. I was getting a little nervous there. Don't tend to fight things this big. More the small things that skitter in the bushes.
Good. I didn't hear perception checks from Katie and Mr. Depps. You're muted, Mr. Depps. Great. And Katie?
I rolled a 2.
Of course you did. Well, just because you're right up on it, Theobeak is going to look down and catch just a little bit of a glint. He's going to see a couple of coins spill out, 5 silver and 1 gold piece.
Nice. I grab that and just throw it in my pouch and kind of looking around, seeing it's just shiny things.
Yep, just shiny things. All right, and with that perception check as well, while you bent over, you did feel just a bit of a tremory skitteriness on the ground. You're not quite sure what it is, but you definitely hear some noise coming from the direction of the actual quarry.
Does it sound like work? Does it sound like spot, kind of the skittering knolls?
It sounds almost like the fall of feet, but a lot of them.
I'm glad it doesn't sound like high
in rapid succession, rather.
Not to warn everybody, but I think there might be more of these things down there.
Oh boy.
Always.
Nuts.
Right. That last encounter didn't go so great.
No, it did not, and I already blew my spells.
Oh boy.
Let me fly up and see if I can get a better look. And I'm going to take to the air and kind of fly over the quarry. Just kind of do a loop and come back.
All right, this is going to be, I guess, a stealth check. Yeah.
Uh, 16.
All right. 16 is passable. I'm going to say as you fly over, you do see one more knoll. If you had to guess, it's a little bit bigger than the ones that you actually just took on. It also appears to be next to a large, like woven reed enclosure of some sort, almost about the same size that it is. And it keeps walking to it and away from it.
You said I heard a lot of skittering feet. Is it just the one that I see?
It's just the one that you see.
Okay. I come back and report that to them. Well, I could have sworn I heard a lot of them, but it appears it was just one whose each footfall sounded like many. And it's very large.
Now, I will say you're not in any immediate danger, and the quarry is a bit away from you, so you'd be welcome to take a short rest if you'd like.
Well, I actually wasn't too bad off on that, but Master Alden, would you care for a rest to aid your healing abilities, or would you be okay with continuing?
Did the innkeeper give us any sort of time frame, or the blacksmith, I guess?
Just clear as soon as possible, and imaginably you'd like to get this done.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to get this done as soon as possible too, so that we can continue with the quest of getting the king established. But I also don't want to rush you, Master Alden.
Well, we're going to have to make a decision. We're probably just going to have to go inside there and do it.
All right.
All right, I guess we're gonna start making our way over to the quarry.
Okay.
Yep.
As you
Go.
continue down the winding path into the quarry, it's down into a small inlet valley that's suddenly becomes a little bit more man-made rocky outcroppings as you start passing the first carved out rocks. It appears that this might have been a naturally exposed expanse of rock that just makes for an easy stone cutting location. Imaginably, that's why Sint actually took advantage of it. It appears there's been a lot of work done here over the years as you enter into sort of a unnatural man-made valley chasm that doesn't go that far down, probably only 30 to 40 feet with rock faces stepping up on either side. Based on your reconnaissance work, Aarakocra, you are aware that around a small bend was where you saw the larger knoll coming up.
It's just around here. I don't know if we want to sneak up on it or just charge in. I don't know who of you are rather stealthy.
I can go scope it out.
I
am not good at hiding. I should probably stay.
All right. So, Master Halfling, are you going to take advantage of your stealthy nature and try to take a peek ahead?
I am. I'm going to sneak on forward around the corner and see what I can see.
Okay. Give me a stealth check.
That is going to be a 15.
15. It's all right. So with a 15, you're aware enough of your movement and sound to know exactly how close you can get. You're still a little ways off from it as you come around the corner, but by clambering over a couple of the smaller rock faces on the side, you're able to see that indeed there is a slightly larger knoll with a few more adornments of various things hanging off of it. And it keeps walking over to that same woven crate that you saw Theobeak describe. It keeps reaching in and handing things inside, and you see just a quick motion of something a little bit hairy reach out and go back in.
Interesting. So is its attention currently away from my direction?
Yeah, at the moment, it was far enough away that it didn't really hear your skirmish from before, but it appears to be pretty focused on whatever's happening inside the crate.
Okay, I'm going to sneak my way back to the group and tell them what I just saw. So apparently there's some kind of cage over there, and there's something in it. It looks like, I don't know if it was feeding it or taunting it or something, but there's something else being captured here.
Another thing. Captured?
Did you notice any weaponry nearby?
I didn't get close enough to notice.
Huh. If we're gonna go inside there, I should probably take lead. I do have the shield, so at the very least, you guys, with some range, can shoot past me and try to get them while I stand the ground.
And do think of your terrain as you're considering this. You are in a small valley of sorts with some pretty easily scalable cliffs on either side of you. So for the range,
I go up on the cliff and cover?
Absolutely. You can make either an athletics or acrobatics check to attempt to climb the cliff.
Can I try to lift him up there?
It's roughly 30 feet. Are you going to try to fly him up there?
Yeah.
Are you capable of lifting that much?
Apparently.
I think I can lift my weight with half movement.
Check your weight and stuff, yeah.
You know, I really like this idea because it's awesome.
Because I don't know what's going on, but yeah.
So I'm going to say this isn't really acrobatics. This is straight strength. So this is going to be an athletics check, but I'm going to give you advantage because it's dope.
It's what we call the rule of cool.
That is right.
Is that the acrobatics thing at the
20.
top, just out of curiosity?
That is a 20?
Dirty 20.
Dirty 20. For information, a dirty 20 is not a naturally rolled 20, but with the bonus added to it, it becomes a 20.
Okay.
But a dirty 20 still counts. With a 20, you're going to swoop in on over the elf, kind of grab him by the shoulders and just woof, 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 and 30 feet straight up and off to the side, drop him very gently on the cliff. As you do this, like really sick, like hold your wings out and fall backwards over the cliff to drop away from him. It's
Did
just...
you say come fly the friendly skies as you pick me up? Just checking.
Very cool. So now, Colonel, you are up on the side of the cliff.
Cool. What do you want me to do now?
Talk to your cohorts, figure it out.
Oh, I'm just covering. So unless something comes out, I'm just keeping people safe, I hope. Right?
All right, I'm gonna try to get close to the cliff so I can like look around it. Is that a situation I can do?
Yeah, so the bend is roughly 40 to 50 feet away, but you're not in combat or anything. And as you get up close to the bend and kind of peek around, it's still roughly 60 feet to where the knoll and the crate are, just across the way. And
Gotcha.
you can follow along on the cliff top if you would like.
Okay. What I'm gonna try to do is create a little bit of noise, if I can, with a gust of air. I'm gonna fling the largest rock that I think my gust will work on, which is up to 5 pounds.
Okay.
That's about 10 feet away from me near the cliff. And I'm just gonna push it a bit with a gust of wind.
Okay, so because this is kind of a stepstone carve-out area, I'm going to say you see a couple of very small stones kind of perched on the edge of one of these that you could pretty easily push off. So I don't think you have to do a check. You just do that, right?
Yeah, I just do it.
So it does make a little bit of noise. You're going to see the knoll whip around real quick and kind of look at everything that's happening around him. As he does so, he is going to draw a glaive, which is like a large curved sword. And he is going to have that drawn and be peering around. He's now on alert. And he is staying very close to the crate.
I don't think we have much of a choice now that he knows we're here. I
was trying to get him closer. It didn't work.
Yeah.
If you want him closer. Okay. I take my quarterstaff and hit it against the rock.
Okay. Okay, so you do make a noise at this point, a sizable noise, and say it even knocks a couple of small stones off, similar to what you've done before. You're still out of view of the knoll, so he's going to hear the noise, snap around again. In fact, some of the bristles on the back of the hyena neck start to stand up just a little bit, kind of revealing that spotting coat. As he looks over, rather startled, he's going to reach back and unclasp the side of the crate and reach inside the crate. And you can tell is still motioning his arm, almost petting.
Oh, gosh.
Is he not coming? I'm going to hit it again.
Okay, with a third hit, go ahead and roll for me. This is intimidation. Go ahead and make an intimidation check.
11.
That's an 11. With an 11, I'm going to say that you hear a noise come from inside the crate. And it's going to rattle just a little bit. And the knoll, hearing the third noise, is going to jump inside the crate and is now outside of view.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to stay where I am and I'm going to hold my quarterstaff and just hold it to attack anything that comes around the corner.
Okay, prepared action. Anyone else?
I'm going to raise my shield with my mace at the ready, just in case anything comes around the corner.
Okay.
Am I allowed to get prepared to shoot and then start yelling "Gridneck" at the rock that was being moved around?
Yes, if you want to, but yeah, you can certainly prepare to take that shot.
Yeah, you know.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have my daggers at the ready.
Okay.
I've got my crossbow ready.
Okay. Everyone's standing ready.
This is Avengers in New York, by the way. We just fully had that like circle moment of all of us just like.
Dun, dun, dun.
So at some point, somebody needs to say who is what from the Avengers of each, and maybe Bailey or somebody can do this. I don't know.
I would like to see that. Yes,
I would too.
Master Kokra, do you think you could take a second to bring me up to Master Potter up there? I think I might be able to do more from above.
Yes, and you look a bit lighter than him.
I'm going to say because he's lighter and because it was a really good roll last time, with this, I'll count the same roll. You take him up there.
On our way up, do we notice the knoll at all?
The knoll is inside the crate at this point, and there is a bit of rattling coming from inside. It is not visible in, by the way. It is like a woven, like almost clam shell covered thing.
Hope he's not stuck.
I'm
Who's
going
left
to
by
attempt.
me? Is it just the dwarf?
What's that?
Who's left standing next to me? Is it just a dwarf now?
It's the dwarf, the halfling, and the Aarakocra presumably has come back down.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to shout out from up on the cliff face in Draconic to see if this works. If you're in there, we can have a chat. You just have to come out.
And for explanation, what language is Draconic?
The language of dragons.
So a very intimidating, loud language.
Kind of a roar.
Yeah, in a sense. With your shout, the top half of the clamshell weave is going to come bursting off. As exploding out of it is the knoll, riding astride what appears to be a massive tarantula. It is roughly as large as the knoll himself.
So now we're in Harry Potter.
It quickly lands, landing on all 8 feet. The skittering sound is very familiar to our Aarakocra friend. It's what he heard before, the skittering of feet. As it comes out, still can't see anyone, but is quickly doing a patrol around.
All right.
Good for him.
Oh, it's just a spider. And I'm going to get ready to attack it.
All right, wonderful. As you reveal yourself, I need everyone to roll for initiative again.
All right.
Yeehaw!
Please get better.
Who
That's
fights
not
in
better.
the same game?
I mean, it is better,
14.
but I got a 7.
10.
Golly. I am not rolling well.
19.
Was that a 10, Katie?
Yeah.
And it was a 19 for Garrett Greenbottle?
That is correct.
I got 18.
Okay.
I got 13.
13.
I'm glad we're not getting the same thing again this week, Mikey.
Right?
That was weird.
Too weird.
I'm not complaining, but it was weird.
All right, first up in the order is going to be Garrett Greenbottle. At this point, you are still concealed.
Not for long. I'm going to step around the corner and throw a dagger at the spider.
I love it. To the perception of this knoll, there's just a halfling just swinging around the corner like a spaghetti western and chucking a dagger at him.
Nice.
So good.
Yep.
What is your range on your daggers?
The range is 60.
Perfect. You are at range right now.
So that is going to be a 14.
14 does not hit. So all of that dramatic entrance, and it just wings by him.
But it looked really
It
cool.
looks super cool.
I'm
Absolutely.
just gonna kind of like Wile E. Coyote, just right back down the corner.
Okay, so you step back around the corner. Next up in the order is going to be the Colonel up on the cliff face.
Well, I was going to back up my buddy with his really cool looking attack that didn't work so well. So can I attack as well?
You can attack, and you will be attacking with advantage because you've gotten to a place. You've gotten to the high ground, to use the Star Wars language. That means you will roll your d20 twice and take the better number.
Oh, okay.
It means it's over, Anakin.
So
I have
18 or 9. So 18.
18 is the best roll. Yeah,
and you're +5 also.
Correct. So with a 23, which is a solid hit, are you aiming for the knoll or the tarantula?
The tarantula.
Okay. Well, that is a hit on the tarantula.
Is that good?
It's up to you.
I hope I made a good choice.
That is going to hit.
I hope so too.
So roll for damage.
5 plus 3, so 8.
That is 8. Okay. That is a solid hit on the creature, and it is going to let out a horrible as it skitters back on its legs and regains its stride. The knoll is holding on, but still holding on very tight. In fact, Colonel, can you make a perception check for me?
Yes, that's a d20.
Yep.
He's learning.
I'm getting there. So 10 plus. Where's the perception thing? Is it just 10?
Your perception should be towards the top.
It's going to be in your skill, kind of in the middle.
In the middle?
Yeah, it's alphabetical.
Oh, there we go. Plus 4, so 14. Thank you.
Okay, with a 14 on that shot, you'll notice that the knoll that is astride has what appears to be reins in the tarantula and is holding on real tight. Cool. Okay, next up in the order is going to be the knoll. So the only thing he's really seen is a shot from above and a halfling come around the corner. So he is going to jerk on the reins and attempt to guide the spider towards where the halfling was.
He's about to walk into an unpleasant surprise.
So it is going to be rushing at this point. So it does have a good movement speed, but it's going to be moving just around the corner. And so it's going to move the 60 feet to close in because it's a spider and can move real good. It's going to move the 60 feet, which for explanation, normally its movement is 40 feet, but in place of an action, you can choose to move double. So it's going to attempt to move in close enough. And as soon as it gets to that 60 feet, it's going to come around the corner and see a few of you who had prepared actions.
Yep.
Great.
So who wants to go first with their
Super Avenger shot? I think Dobbs should be up first.
Perfect. Ooh, lucky number 13. Wait, with the +5, which is an 18.
18 is going to hit. What are you hitting with?
Oh, wait, no, crossbow. So it's +3, 16.
16, still hits.
Cool. So that is D6. Oh no, I dropped it.
Oh no.
Yes.
And how close is it to us now?
It is within 5 feet.
5.
5.
5
are you
feet
aiming
on the ground, right?
Yeah, you're out of this right now.
Just checking.
Are you aiming for the knoll or are you aiming for the tarantula?
I'm aiming for the tarantula.
And how much did you hit it with?
5.
5.
I hate spiders, man.
So with the 5 on the crossbow, you're actually hitting it straight in the mandible.
Heck yeah.
And as you shoot, the tarantula is going to buck off the knoll.
I hate that.
And it pretty much right at your feet, and the tarantula actually falls dead.
Wonderful.
You have
That's how I
taken
like
out the
it.
tarantula.
Okay.
So now there's a knoll who is prone in front of you.
Hopefully it
if
doesn't
you
devour anybody's flesh.
if you're unfamiliar, I think I'm describing this right. Luke, correct me if I'm wrong, but if something is prone, it has to use an action to be able to get back unprone, correct?
Correct.
No, prone, it
Movement,
just
right?
takes half its movement speed to stand up.
Gotcha. Okay.
Oh, half its speed, right?
Yep.
Let's have a status card for that.
Love it.
Prone's creature's only movement option is to crawl unless it stands up and in the condition. Has disadvantage on attack rolls, and attack rolls against the creature have advantage if it's within 5 feet. Otherwise, the attack roll has disadvantage.
Beautiful.
Okay. So it's going to take the remainder of its movement speed to stand up because it is still technically its turn. However, that was only one of the prepared shots. I believe we have some other preparations going on.
Are the Knoll and Tarantula on the same initiative?
Yes, they are. Although the tarantula is no more.
Tarantula is gone now.
May I remind you that I killed it?
You killed the tarantula.
I need everyone to know that it's dead.
Much appreciated.
So who else had a prepared action?
I did.
Go for it.
All right, I'm gonna attack the Knoll with my mace.
Hit him.
You have
Attacking
advantage.
with a 15.
And you do have
I
advantage.
get
So you can
advantage?
reroll. Yeah.
That's right. Okay.
Because these actions take place before he's able to stand up from being prone.
That was less. So 15.
15 is going to hit.
Awesome. All right, so this is the D6 plus 2. 4 damage.
All right. You hit it good. All right. Who else had something prepared?
I did, but I had used it to take Xana up to the cliff. So I think that's everyone now.
Very good. Mikey, did you have something prepared? Oh, no,
I used it.
Yeah, you were using it. Yeah, that's right. You're right. Okay, cool. All right. Next up in the order is Xana.
Oh, all right. I'm gonna get to the point where I can see the knoll over the cliff. Notice that the tarantula is gone. I'm gonna take the bottom end of my quarterstaff, aim it at it, and fire off a magic missile at it.
Magic missile, tried and true. Go for it. For a recap, magic missile is the bread and butter of all magics. It is going to be 3 attacks that can either be directed to individual things or all at the same thing that have a set amount of damage.
7, 10. That's 10 damage total.
It's a solid hit for level 1. Very good.
Did you skip the Knoll's turn?
No, I didn't. That was bucking it off.
Well, that was the tarantula bucking off. What was the Knoll's action?
Standing up.
Okay, so it can still take action. It just used half of its movement to stand up.
Yeah, I think it was still a little bit stunned. It can skip over.
It fell off in a giant tarantula. It makes sense.
No, his noble steed.
All right, was that it for you, Xana?
Yes, I'm going to look. If I saw that the dwarf was the one that killed the tarantula, I'm going to give her a big thumbs up. And thanks for killing that giant creature.
It's what I do. I serve the people.
Glasses pulled off. Yeah! Ba-da!
If there's a tarantula, you can bet I'll kill it.
It's got 8 legs and 0 HP. Speaking of really, really cool dudettes, Dobbs, you're up next in the order.
Wonderful.
Oh, wait, no, this is Theobeak next in the order. I'm sorry. I went ahead.
Well, I'm going to take my quarterstaff and spin it. Take a swing at his head. 21.
21 hits.
That is 8 bludgeoning. And then I'm going to kick with my talons.
Okay.
That was good. 14.
Does not hit.
All right. I'm going to stay there.
Okay. We're back up to the... Oh, no, I'm sorry. Alden, you're next. I don't know what it is about wanting to skip you.
Stops.
No, it's Dobbs next.
Oh, Dobbs, I'm one ahead, and I keep trying to not skip one ahead, but I'm one ahead. So Dobbs, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay.
How close am I?
You're within 5 feet.
Wonderful. My battle axe is coming out, and I'm swinging.
Battle axe coming out.
Oh, probably
Swinging at the knoll.
15.
15 hits.
Plus 5. So
That still hits.
heck yeah. And that is a D8. I should grab that dice. Boop ba boop. Heyo. 11.
Jeez. That is a meaty hit.
Yeah.
All right, the knoll is starting to look pretty worse for wear.
Good.
As we move on to Alden.
Yeah. I'm going to pick up my mace, hold it upon high, and I'm going to swing down upon him and hopefully actually hit him, hopefully, with sweet, with a 23, or 21.
Is that a dirty above 20?
Yeah.
Okay. 21 hits, believe it or not.
Really quick, Dobbs, Katie, you said you swung with the D8?
Yes.
Should be a
I think you
D10,
have a
right?
D10, yeah.
That's right.
You've been a
Because you're proficient with the weapon.
Gotcha. We'll remember that for the future, but we'll count it. We'll count it for now. But good call, Luke. Thank you.
Waha! I scored a 4 plus 2, 6 damage.
6 damage. Dang. Making some quick work of this knoll. All right, so next up, as we move back to the top of the order, that's gonna be Garrett.
All right, so I'm going to step on up with my rapier, and I'm going to take a strike at him. That is 16.
16 hits.
Right, and that is going to be with the sneak attack. That is going to be 11 damage.
As 11 damage? Jeez.
Goodness.
Yep.
We're not messing around here.
I'm feeling pretty
Sneak
good
attack
right now.
is mean.
Yeah, we're ready. We're ready
So,
to go.
Despite the less than successful cool entrance, you get the final hit on this knoll as you drag it down.
Yeah.
Well done, sir.
And it falls prone. For everyone on the ground, go ahead and take a look around with a perception check.
All right.
Would it?
Got a 16.
Natural 20, 25. Oh, sorry. Yeah, 25.
You're not gonna believe this.
What'd you get?
Big old goose egg, baby.
All right, with a 25, you're going to be the one to see. There's a small rucksack at the side of the knoll, and as it falls over, a small green precious stone falls out that is valued at 10 gold.
Is it shiny?
Ooh.
It is very shiny.
I grab it.
Okay, just so you know, everyone can see that you grabbed it on the ground. It's not anything you could deceive.
Does Dobbs?
Presumably, it's up to you guys if you want to react to that or not.
Y'all hear something? All I know is that I killed a spider. I don't know much of anything else.
As they're checking out around the knoll, if I look over at where the cage or the box was, is there any sign of anything else around there suspicious from up on high?
No, but make a perception check just to double make sure.
Ooh, that was a 19.
With a 19, you can pretty clearly see that there is pretty much nothing else. It seems like you've eradicated anything that was in this quarry.
Okay.
Other than the reins on the tarantula, does the tarantula have anything else on it? Like saddlebags or something? No?
Nope. Well, congratulations. You have solved my knoll quarry puzzle.
Hey.
Yeah.
As you make your way back into town victorious, telling tales of your victories across the lands.
Of my spider.
Talking up information.
I hit things.
I know it's probably over the time, but I like to imagine that Alden is still walking with a flaming mace, just gesturing to it. Just Ah, it's on fire, remember?
Oh, it goes away after a minute.
Yes, it's done, but you've just lit it again just to remember?
Hit him. I killed something today.
Very good. Well, it's just past midday as you make your way back into the small town of Hub. As you come around the corner into the main circle, there are still the few townspeople milling about. A couple of them nod at you with recognition that you were the ones that may have protected them yesterday. And being a small town, word's probably gotten around what you were off doing right now. So the fact that you're back and not dead is probably a good sign that you just helped their community a little bit more. So you get a couple more nods as you walk through. As you come into view of the Mouse and Kings, Sint, true to his word, is already there working hard on the side of the building, occasionally just picking up a random gathered weapon on the ground and ripping a chunk off of it or throwing it into a small kiln he's brought with him to bring down a metal bracket or two. You can also see through the remainder of the opening inside of the building that the Tinker has not moved very far. He's still sitting fairly close to the box which contains Lucia that you are aware of. As you make your way into the inn, what would you like to do?
Is his arm still draped? Is his arm still draped over the box?
He's close to it. He's not really in contact with it, but he's close.
Okay. I'm gonna take a look at the Tinker and see if he is currently awake, even though he's not moving much.
Yeah, he's awake. He greets you as you come in. He looks a little bit more rested, and he just appears to have been in the process of recovering.
Theopeak is going to stay outside and be perched on top of the building, just keeping an eye out.
Is that chair I put in the corner still there?
Inside.
The chair in the corner is still there, unmoved from when you were there last.
Good. I'm going over there, put my feet up, hood over my face, and go back to sleep.
My man has halflings down. This is great.
I'm going to approach the forger as he's working and report to him everything that we've done. Good sir, Master Forger, we have accomplished and cleared out
the real
quarry.
Quick, the name is Sint.
Sint.
Just Sint. Just like Share, it's Sint.
Yeah. Can I still call him Master Forger?
Prefer Sint.
Oh, he prefers Sint. Okay. Sint.
Yes.
We have completed the task.
Good. As you can see, I'm doing this one. Great job.
Do I see Master Id around anywhere?
It is scampering around near Sint, grabbing things for him as needed.
All right. I'm gonna try to study what Id is doing and see if I can't help him at all.
Okay. I wouldn't even make you roll for that. It appears whenever Sint puts out his hand for something in particular, Id is pretty aware of what's needed and goes and grabs either a hammer or a bit of the strewn about metal or just kind of running back and forth, just happy as a clam to be doing something.
All right.
Is there anything we can assist with?
Yeah, if you want to sort through some of that metal over there, that would be very helpful. And he kind of gestures to you and Dobbs. You strong people, bring some of that over here.
Got it.
Can I have Dobbs and Alden make perception checks, please?
Hope this goes better than last time.
Me too.
Let's see, 16 plus... Is that a 2? 2, so 18.
I rolled a nat 20, baby.
Oh!
Nice.
But -1, so it's 19.
Still, nat 20 is nat 20. That's good.
Yep.
With a natural 20, as you gather up the materials, you notice the glint of something that actually, Colonel, you noticed before as you were gathering and included in the pile. A more silvery hilted weapon that looks a little not worse for wear in the way that the other weapons are. As you're moving it over, you do notice some of this same etchings on it of a Dwemer nature. You speak Dwarf, yes?
Yes.
You notice the etchings They're old Dwarven symbology. It's not really commonly used anymore, but you do see the symbol for balance raised just near where the grip of a hilt would be. And it's emblazoned in the fashion of a switch or a button.
Cool.
Perfectly balanced, as
Can I
all
push it?
things should be.
Well, you don't have it right now. Dobbs has it.
Oh,
and she's
that's it. Sorry.
the only one
Yeah.
that can read it.
Yeah, why you take it away from
'Cause
me?
he asked if I could read it.
Well, then, Dobbs, do you
Yes,
want to
if I
push
could
it?
read it. Okay.
Dobbs, would you like to push the balance button?
Yeah, I would.
It is mid-afternoon, and you have taken advantage of everyone's attention as a small crackling of energetic noise happens. Instinctively, you hold the weapon away from you, your years of soldiers training coming into effect. Despite it not having a weapon head on it, you know where the head should be. And in just a moment, there is. With a crackle of light, first one side, then the other, 2 half-moon battle axe blades appear on either side, glowing with a bluish hum. It sounds a little bit like this.
That's rad.
You have found a weapon, obviously.
Yay.
And that weapon is the Axe of the Keening Crystal. I will be adding it to your inventory in just a moment. It is a weapon, battle axe, which is convenient that you found it.
I do love battle axe.
Silver hilt and shaft of the battle axe, intricately carved with Dwemer iconography. When wielded by one of righteous heart, 2 half-moon blades appear at the head, glowing with a bluish hue and humming. Proficiency with a battle axe allows you to add your proficiency bonus to the attack roll for any attack you make with it. So you have a glowing blue battle axe of energy, and it does do lightning damage on strike.
That is so on
that's
brand
cool.
for me. Like a glowing blue battle axe.
Well, there
So
you
every
go.
time you swing and cause an explosion, you have to turn away.
Yeah.
'Cause you always walk away from explosions.
I like to imagine that literally in battle, I'm like, gotta turn away, but I gotta turn back. Oh no, gotta turn away. You know? I'm very conflicted with my cool guy imagery.
Well, very good. Rose kind of looks over you, looks at the shiny thing and says, good find. Technically, nobody really owns anything from that pile, so I guess that's yours now. Kudos. Synth looks over you a little bit askance and says, yeah, good find, I guess. And he turns to Id. Id! And Id, almost without waiting for a reply, already nods quickly and begins rummaging through the remainder of the things that are on the ground, looking for other things that are shiny.
Seeing that I can't help Id at all, I'm gonna go into the barkeep and say, excuse me, I don't know this town very well. Could you direct me to the nearest library, perchance?
Library. She gestures to a shelf behind you with like 3 books that are falling apart.
Oh, how quaint. That's all right. Thank you. And I go over to the bookshelf and I try to figure out which do any of them seem to have arcane origins. Wouldn't be the right wording, but just do they look like something that I might be able to study to understand magics better?
You're going to be pretty out of luck there. You do recognize a tome of the World of Elias, which has descriptions of the kingdom. And the other 2 appear to have been drawn over by the various other guests who may have read it or ripped out pages for other discrete uses. But the only complete novel is the Tome of Elias.
All right, I'm going to pull down the Tome of Elias, considering our task at hand, and I'm going to start trying to see if I can glean some information about our upcoming journey.
Rose is going to look over as you do and say, you're probably the only person who's read that in 15 years. Keep it. So please add to your inventory the Tome of Elias. This is a reference book for the world and sundry areas around you. You may reference it at any time to gain information about your surroundings and the nations you're in.
While I'm up on the roof, can I fly over to the Zeke's general store?
Sure. As you glide over, it is still dark. It is still closed up.
For mid-afternoon?
For mid-afternoon, yep.
Okay. Do I see any notice of when they open?
Nope, nothing appears available and ready. It just appears to be closed.
Any windows?
There are windows.
Can I look inside to kind of see what kind of stock they have?
Sure. It appears to be more general store fare. Go ahead and make a perception check if you'd like to peer in further.
16.
16. You do notice along the back wall, kind of tucked in there, there is a bit of sundry adventurer's gear, not your normal stock for a farming community. You still can't really make out exactly what's back there, but there are a few items of minor interest beyond farming town.
Okay, I'm gonna fly up and just land on the roof of Zeke's and stay up there.
Okay. For those of you still around the inn, the Tinker has begun to have brief conversation with you. If at this time you'd like to ask any questions of the Tinker of what is to come, it'd be a great chance to have that conversation.
Oh, golly.
Master Tinker, I know you want to wait until tomorrow to feel fully rested, but I would like to know a little bit better what is the best starting point for us on this journey.
Well, to start, we better know how much you know before we begin. Xana, I know we gathered you quickly out of town. I'm not sure if you knew, but Spire was under attack when we left. It's part of the reason we had to leave so quickly. I'm not sure how much word has gotten to this community, but to the best of my knowledge, Spire is under siege at the moment. And as the capital of the kingdom, I don't have to tell you how difficult that is going to be for us. At the time of the siege, Sale and I were with the king, having a discussion about, well, something. And they attacked, and I don't really know who they are, but, well, to make a long story short, Lucia has been named High King. And that's not what I wanted for her, but it happened. Anyway, the High King, Arthur, he passed, and we tried to protect Lucia. Sale was attempting a two-part spell. Part one was to take Lucia from her body to keep her safe, something about planes. And the second part was to bind her corporeal form to the throne itself until we could name her king. That was supposed to keep her protected, but we didn't get that chance. We were driven away too quickly. And that's when we gathered you and got out of town and were pursued by, well, my creations, I guess. But never mind. The point is, for reasons I don't know if I can fully explain, Lucia has to be named king for the protection of the kingdom. The terrible things will happen if that doesn't happen. Perception checks for those of you who are listening to the Tinker.
Okay.
7.
7.
Rolled a 1.
We're so perceptive, guys.
I was gonna say, let me tell you some things about Dobbs. She's super cool, not super.
That's it. That's the end of the list.
I think I was listening, and that's a 12 total.
That's a 12. 12's not bad. Mike,
I was probably only
explosions and expositions.
I was probably only half listening with an 8.
Okay, that serves your narrative. All right, with a 12, I'm going to say, Colonel, that your time in and out of the woods, there are a few things you know. One of the things you know is when somebody's holding back. The Tinker is pretty clearly holding back something.
Cool.
Master Tinker, one other question. I know that Lucia was going to be a very powerful sorcerer, and Master Sale mentioned that she had quite a lot of potential at that. And I need help in our travels. Is there any other sorcerer who would possibly be able to give me any sort of aid, any sort of guidance along the way that I should be keeping an eye out for?
Go ahead and make a history check for me.
Is a 16 plus nothing. So 16.
All right. With a 16, I'm going to say you have a general awareness as you ask this question that magic and sorcery, specifically the type that Sale does, isn't super common in Elias, at least not to your knowledge. It's an innate ability, and every once in a while somebody has it. However, the masters, as it were, are few and far between. It's not shunned necessarily. And you have a vague recollection of something happening way in the past that caused that. But you do know that there's not much of it. It's part of the reason you went to Sale in the first place, being one of the only very public sorcerers in the world. And the Tinker, to your question, I will say, I don't know of much in the way of the type of magic Sale was practicing. It's certainly nothing like what I know. As he says that, he strokes the back of a chair next to him, and the chair almost infinitesimally does flinch, as though it'd be rubbing up against his hand just a bit. But that's different. I wouldn't know that type of magic. I have heard tale of some sort of magics happening in SAR, but that is outside of my realm of knowledge. As he says that, he reaches up and touches the back of his ear. Nature checks from anyone that is watching, please.
Okay. It's a little better. Let's see. What do I get?
Also 0. 10.
11.
6.
17.
17. All right. Katie, I'm going to say that just by your vantage point, you might have had a bit of notice, but as he reaches back and moves the tufts of slightly overgrown white hair, you do see the faintest of points to his ear. And your knowledge of the natural world says that you do know he is most likely half elf. He is not full elf, but he is half. And in what he is referencing. So in his reference to Sar not knowing much, it's a little surprising considering he might be of elven kind.
Well, thank you, Master Tinker, and I appreciate it. I'm worried that I might become a hindrance at some point without direction. Did I ever tell you what happened to my aunt?
No.
She showed the same sort of potential that I do. And when she hit her 25th birthday, the scales took over her face and seemingly her mind. And the whole reason my family sent me to Master Sale is because they're worried this might happen to me too. That I might lose control. And I don't want that to happen. I don't want anyone to suffer because of me.
That's horrible.
Xana, I don't know anything about your magic, but I do know about building things well. And you are built well. If you follow down a path of goodness, I don't see any reason that you can't be built well for many years to come.
And if you don't, we'll put you out of your misery.
Alden scoots over towards them.
That's comforting.
No worries. We'll take care of you. It'll be all right.
And a good thing, too. The consequences of Lucia not being named High King are, well, they're bad. He trails off. Would anyone attempt to persuade him to sell more?
Sure. When you say
All right.
bad, is that like end of the world bad, or?
So thank you, first of all, for asking the question rather than just rolling. Now that you've asked end of the world bad, please roll a d20 for persuasion. By the way, that is the correct way to do it.
Was
First,
it?
yeah,
Okay,
act
good.
the thing you want to do, and if you have done it well, I will tell you if you can roll. So perfect.
Thank you.
So roll that d20 for persuasion.
17, and then I need to. Do I need to do something?
You will add your persuasion.
0.
Okay, so 17. With a 17, the Tinker takes a moment, breathes in, and says, Sale told me not. Well, he didn't tell me not to, but he said it in the strictest of confidence, that the reason we protect the throne of the High King, the reason it's important who sits on the throne, is because of the power that almost ended the world during the Saurian War. It's part of the reason we have this. And as he speaks, he rolls up his white sleeve and reveals that he too, in fact, has the same brand that you do on his right wrist. It's not typical. Well, it's not right for you to be conscripted in this way. I asked for this. We're part of an order, you now too, that protects the throne of the High King. Not even the person so much as the place. You see, whoever sits on the throne commands a power that is beyond our understanding of destruction. In fact, we don't even know exactly what it is. We just know that it's called the Rising Moon. That is the only thing we know about it. And whoever sits on the throne of High King, it's why the kingdom has to come together to name the High King. This power is too much for one person to have ultimate deciding power over. It's why the nations must come together to decide it. It's not a formality. It is magically bound. Without the council's decision to name the High King, this weapon is sitting there. Yes, dormant, but there's probably a way around that. And I have to imagine whoever this enemy is working to find that. The only way to keep it safe is to name a High King that can protect it. And as much as I hate to say it, Lucia is powerful enough to do so.
I'm going to go ahead and say that, yes, that's end of the world bad.
I think you're right.
With that, the Tinker will look at his daughter, though not being able to see her inside the box. You get the sensation he sees her just as well. In fact, as you look at it, for those of you who are familiar with the crafting arts, like our Goliath friend, you see that the box is well built. In fact, expertly crafted. You have to imagine that the Tinker built the box his daughter now lives in. And with that, we will end our second session of Dungeons and Dragons. Congratulations, everyone. I hope you had a good time this evening.
Kill spider.
Killed a spider and got a very cool weapon.
Yeah.
Set a knoll on fire.
I almost died.
Just in the coming weeks, we are going to be talking through some of the other options of this campaign. One collective decision I want to make before we finish this one. We could have done this in character, but just for the sake of time, I would love for us to talk as players to what our characters would like. You have been tasked with gathering the council, which means that you have to go to the various disparate nations of Elias. To talk amongst yourselves, where would you like to go in Elias first? And I'm happy to talk through the options if you would like.
We should definitely go to the Briarwoods.
Which is where you're from. The various kingdoms that have representatives on the council are, of course, Spire, though that is under siege at the moment, and the High King is the rep, so
that's a problem.
That'd be a problem. The other areas of the kingdom, there's Mortadrek, which lies to the east. It is the home of the dwarves and gnomes. It is a technologically advanced place.
Wait a minute. No, we should go there.
Southwest of here is Sar. That is the elven jungle home.
I've heard it's lovely.
For all of your time that you may or may not have spent there.
Yeah, exactly.
Due west of here is Lightning Gulch, the arid frontier of Elias. And his home
rides there, right?
It's the wildest ride in Lightning Gulch.
That's what I heard.
You know that the Dragonborn make their home there. And of course, to the northwest is the Briar Wilds and famous Crescent Square.
Great for sleeping.
I personally would argue most for going to Mortadrek because I know it the best. But
I was
I
also
agree.
Same.
We can pick up stuff, and
I'm
I
game
can
for
learn more
thinking
things.
more
I'm game for anything.
because there are dwarves there.
Yes, there are dwarves there, and I can learn more.
Very good. Well, in that case, next week we'll be on the road to a great, big, beautiful mortar drag.
I love that.
I love that.
Well, thank you so much for joining us on this game. Of course, we're going to be having small recaps if you need to keep caught up. Please go to dapsmagic.com if you want to follow along with this, or any of the latest in Disney and geek news. That is going to be the place to go. You can follow along on social media on Twitter. We're using the hashtag DAPS. That is an N, dragons, Daps and Dragons. If you'd like to comment on the campaign, please do so by tweeting us with that hashtag and tagging DAPS Magic. Otherwise, thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time.